Hey guys, Kim here, and you are tuned into Kim E, the Diabetes MP. Please excuse me, guys. I'm a mother of a couple of little ones, and it's the winter time, and I am coming down with a little bit of some congestion, but I wanted to make sure that I do this video, and so I may sound a little raspy, but we're going to make it work, okay? So today I want to do something a little different. I want to start talking about the different ethnic groups and different demographics that are affected by diabetes. Now, right now it is February, and I want to talk about the African American diabetic. Now, I'm going to start with African American because, surprise, surprise, I'm African American. And also, it's February, it's Black History Month. But as we move into different times throughout the year, I'm going to highlight different ethnic groups. I think this would be really good to talk about our high risk groups. And so with that being said, let's get right into it. So let's get some little background and a little bit of statistics, okay? Now, African Americans are 60% more likely to develop diabetes over their non-Hispanic Caucasian counterparts. Did you know that? And twice as likely to die from diabetes. So this is something that we cannot overlook, guys. It would behoove you to not take the time to educate and to address this with everybody that comes into your office, but especially taking that opportunity to screen and to educate your African American patients. So not too long ago, I had the privilege to sit down with endocrinologist Artie Thangadu. And of course, she's an endocrinologist, she's a specialist, but her focus in her practice is reversing diabetes. And the conversation was great. If you would like to watch that interview, I'll link it in the description box. But one of the questions I asked her at the end of the interview was, what is one thing that you would like to press upon primary care providers, nurse practitioners, PAs, physicians? What is that one thing that you would like for us all to know as a specialist before we refer over to you? What is that one thing that you would like for us to really focus on? And one of those things that she said was that when we have patients that are pre-diabetic or maybe very mildly diagnosed with diabetes, around the 6.5, 7.5 range, to really take that opportunity to really double down on our education, to really impress upon them lifestyle modifications, and really not overlook them for the more severe diabetic. Okay, because in that stage in their diagnosis, we could really flip them around totally and prevent them from having, a full diagnosis of diabetes. And the reason why I bring that up is with African American patients, this is something that we could really benefit in that demographic to do for them. Everyone that walks in that's African American is not always going to be a diabetic, okay? They're just a part of a high risk group. Just like any other disease that has a high risk group, it's not their fate, but they're more at risk. And we know this. Use those times when they're pre-diabetic and you see that you have a patient that's willing, that you have developed that trust with them. Really try to double down on your education to really change the trajectory of what their health could be. Now, like with most high-risk groups, you may ask yourself, why African American? And we know that African Americans are not the only demographic group that is riddled with diabetes. We also have the Latino group. We also have certain Asian groups that are also at high risk for diabetes. And you may have asked yourself, why? Why are there certain groups that are more at risk for this disease? Now, of course, there's the argument out there that genetics, and I never want to throw away that thought because it really could be. But one of the things that I have seen is that a lot of times it's more cultural than anything. Because you can have a family that, and this goes for all of us, typically in our families, we all eat the same way. We like the same foods. And a lot of the different recipes that we eat have been passed down from generation to generation. And it's not just with race, guys, it's also regional. Like, I'm from Tennessee, and I know that in Tennessee, in the South, we eat, no matter if you're white, black, whatever, we eat a certain way that people out in the Northwest probably don't eat. And so you have to keep that in mind when you're dealing with any demographic, but especially when you're dealing with the African American diabetic or the person that may be pre-diabetic. Now, something to consider, and this is me speaking to you as an African American woman, that typically with our demographic, my culture, and you'll find this in other cultures as well, but the matriarch of the family tends to do a lot of the cooking, okay? The grandmother, the aunts, the mothers, they all pile into the kitchen and they cook. And around times where there's holidays and family celebrations and family gatherings, there's a huge spread of food. And the reason why I bring up the matriarch of the family is because who does that tend to be? That tends to be our patient. So when that person comes into your office, just think of how much impact that you can make in one family if you get that matriarch on board and she starts to change the way that she cooks. You really can change the trajectory of a family health legacy. And to me, that's blowing for me. It boggles my mind how much you can impact a whole family for generations on in. And for those of you who, know what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you come from a demographic that's like that, and it's not just African Americans. I have a lot of my Latino patients. They're like that too. They cook for the whole family. The women cook for the whole family. And really, honestly, there's a lot of backgrounds that do that. So don't overlook when you have that person who may be the grandmother that comes in to the family, comes into your office. Don't overlook what education in a conversation can do for her and her family. Lastly, this is important, and I believe that we're probably already doing this, but for kicks, I just want to mention this. When you have the African American patient that walks through your door, don't automatically assume that they're going to have diabetes. Again, they're just a part of a high risk group. It's an opportunity for us to screen, to monitor, to educate. It's a great opportunity for us to prevent something from happening, but let's not automatically ascribe a diagnosis on them. Now, we all probably know, just talking to our patients, whether they're white, black, Asian, green, blue, brown, whatever, there's a cloud over the diagnosis of diabetes. Nobody wants diabetes, and that goes for anybody, okay? So make sure that when you're talking to your patients and you're educating your patients over their risk factors, that we leave them with hope. Now, I'm in community health. I am not currently in the role of a primary care provider, but I do follow behind a lot of PCPs. And one of the things that I have noticed is that many times our patients are left feeling hopeless without any out. They feel like, well, if I'm going to develop diabetes, I might as well eat what I want. And that, I know that's not what we want. I know that's not what I want for my patients. I want you to give it the good old college try. And so I say this to say, leave your patients with hope that they don't have to have this as their diagnosis. This isn't a death sentence if they are pre-diabetic or if they're just right there mildly diagnosed with diabetes, that they can change the trajectory of their health. And again, I do want to recommend that you watch that interview that I did with Dr. Thangadu, because she gave such great tips of how to put diabetes in remission, or what some consider diabetes reversal. Okay, guys, I hope this was informative for you all. Like I said, because it is Black History Month, I am going to focus on the African American diabetic and the things to be watching out for. As we move through the year, I am going to touch on other demographics as well and different cultural groups as well. And I also have some surprises coming on. I have some people who are in some more specialty areas that can talk to us. Just like I pulled on Dr. Thangadu, I have some other people in specialty areas that I'm going to be interviewing as well. If there is something that you would like to see, go ahead and drop it down in the comment section, because I'm always curious. I want to curate content that you all want to see, that you want to learn about. So as the months are coming up, I keep a running list of just topics and things that people have told me that they want to see. Again, you are sitting here with Kim E, the Diabetes MP, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.